dial on WPRO. By the way, it's 6:30. We will be handing it off to New York Yankees baseball on 99.7 FM The Score. So we're on 1, 2, sometimes both, but we'll be on one signal, AM 790, after 6:30 because we hand it to the Yanks on 99.7.
All right, yesterday you and I talked about the great fight we watched over the weekend between
Juan Manuel Marquez and
Pacquiao, however you pronounce his name. It was a great fight. You got Roy Jones Jr. and Antonio Tarver coming up this weekend. Joining us on the line right now to talk a little boxing is boxing promoter Don King. Don, Scott, and Andy here in Providence. How are you?
Hey, Scott and Andy, I'm just so happy to be with you guys in Providence. And it's on WSKO, and we're going to have a great show here in Mandalay Bay where the Flying Fishes play. It's going to be Roy Jones Jr. He's taking on Antonio Tarver. Antonio Tarver said he was cheated on the last outing. He said that he did not get the crown even though he won it. So this time he's taking the crown. He's not going to depend on any judges to get it. And Roy Jones, as you know, I refer to him as Superman. He's faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive. He can leap giant buildings in a single bound. Is he a bird? Is he a plane? He is Superman Roy Jones. He's a phenomenal fighter, and now he's putting it all on the line. His legacy will be told on Saturday night, May 15th, at the arena at the Mandalay Bay Hotel here in Las Vegas, Nevada. So call now to your local cable operator or your satellite distributor to get it on pay-per-view if you can't be here to see it live and in living color on the scene as it takes place right before your eyes.
Don, let me ask you this question. I mean, we all agree Roy Jones Jr., pound for pound, may still be the best boxer around, maybe one of the best of all time. But did he really win that last fight, or did Tarver beat him, and did he get robbed by the judges?
Well, Tarver thinks that he won that fight. You know what I mean? And I heard Roy say today he thought Tarver won that fight. So, you know, it's no question about it. Tarver did not get the judge's decision, but Roy said that he was taking care of business. He said he got the decision, and he said he's going in this time to make it clear. You know, so Roy Jones is omnipotent, and ubiquitous. He's everywhere, all-powerful and all-knowing. And so we took him out of the mountain of Blackenite today where his secret power came, and we now know that this is Black Superman. And it's going to be a great fight. You hear it right here on Scott and Andy in Providence, Rhode Island on WSKO.
Don King with us here on Sports Radio 790 and 99.7 The Score. Don, I know they had the weigh-ins, and I saw the stuff earlier today, or there was a press conference, and I saw Roy Jones kind of getting after it. I caught it on ESPN News. Do you know if it's going to be Roy Jones Jr. or the alter ego RJ in the ring on Saturday night?
Well, you know, I tell you, this is one time that I've never seen Roy so into it. He is furious. He just bought $200,000 worth of tickets for the military in our great nation, and I just applaud him for that because they're the vanguard of our nation, the protectors of our soil, the one who ensure and protect the rights and privileges that we enjoy here in this great nation called America. And so Roy Jones, in all of his furor, in his anticipative war that's going to take place on the Saturday night, he still had time to take out for a moment to be able to take care of our armed services, our soldiers and sailors, Marines, and whatever. And I think it's just so great that he would do this, and I'm just heralding and drawing the trumpet for him on that. So now he's going to go in there in the ring, and he says he's going to declare war, and the war it will be on Antonio Tarver. A lot of hostility, a lot of rage, a lot of pent-up anger, and it's all going to be spent on Saturday night. So call now to your local cable operator or your distributor by satellite to make certain you get it on pay-per-view or closed circuit because it's going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a great, great fight.
Don, I don't know if you saw the Marquez-Pacquiao fight Saturday night, but I'm wondering, how does one judge see it 115, 110 one way, another judge see it 115, 110 the other way, and a third judge screw up and not give Pacquiao a 10-6 round in the first round? I mean, how does this stuff happen?
I don't know, but judging is subjective, and that's why I've been an advocate for round-by-round scoring. Boxing is the only sport that's in the ancient ages that they don't want the public to be the judge themselves or to keep them informed as to what's going on. Any other score, any other sport, you know what the score is and by each round. If it's tennis, if it's hockey, if it's basketball, if it's football, if everything but boxing. And boxing is almost like a secret smoke-filled room little slips being handed over behind the corner, and nobody knows what's going on. I think that you should post the scores after every round so that the public will be informed as to what's going on. And this will stop a lot of these judges from the activity of knowing that they're sheltered by some surreptitious or clandestine secrecy that will enable them to be able to vote any way they want to vote, however they want to vote, regardless of whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I would never say anything adversarial to a judge, but nevertheless, you're asking the question, let's get some answers. Let's put it out there where everybody can see, and then the man has to justify why he's voting the way that he's voting, and if he has an explanation from his point of view, we'll have to accept that. But just to wait till after the 12 rounds is over to find out what you have done, how you've done, when you've done, and where you've done, that is totally unacceptable.
Don King with us here on Sports Radio 790 and 99.7 The Score. Don, a two-part question. What's your relationship like with Mike Tyson, and can you make the blockbuster, the barn burner, Tyson and Jones, can you make it happen, Don?
Well, I'm working on it. You know, Jones is working on also fighting on Felix Trinidad. Felix Trinidad is back. He's now a light heavyweight. He's going to come down to middleweight to fight Ricardo Mayorga on October the 2nd. But if we can get past October the 2nd, Roy Jones really was anticipating fighting him at a catchweight before. That would be a barn burner. If Tyson comes back, that would be a barn burner. And I have nothing but good feelings for Mike Tyson. I've never had a problem with Mike Tyson, as I've said consistently over the separation period of our relationship, and we're going in two different ways. When Tyson was with me, he owed no money. He was on the top of the world. He had nothing, no debt, and he owned everything that he has. They told him that I was doing something untoward to him. He left me, and now he's bankrupt. Something is wrong with this picture. The good guys that supposed to have been riding in on the white horses and the stallions that were coming in to save him with the big white hat seemingly took him the opposite direction. So that being said, my arms is open to Mike Tyson anytime, any place, anywhere. If I can be of any help or assistance to him, I certainly would be able to do that. And if he did come back, we would have a barn burner because the heavyweight division is up for grabs. There's nobody that's really a big name that is really hovering over the ring. So you got 3 or 4 champions that you can make into one undisputed champion, and I'm wanting to start another tournament to let them go through the process to do that. One fighter I do want to take note to, his name is Layman Brewster. This guy knocked out Vladimir Klitschko on April the 10th in Mandalay Bay with a shot that was reverberating and resounding around the world. And he said, Americans don't quit. That was the significant thing about Layman Brewster knocking out the former Russian and now is Ukrainian, is now knocked out, and he's making all kinds of excuses which nobody cares anything about. But the fact of the matter is, don't take away from the victory of this great American who went in there and knocked out this Russian.
Don, Mike Tyson, you just talked about him. At age 37, can this guy regain, I don't want to say his form of old, but enough to recapture some belts in the heavyweight division?
Absolutely. Mike Tyson, if he would rededicate himself, redouble his efforts, and commit himself with the type of self-determination that I know about Mike Tyson, there would be no stopping him now. I think he could rise to the occasion, and he could do it with great, great aplomb.
Don, where does John Ruiz fit into all this?
John Ruiz is the first 2-time Latino heavyweight champion in the world. He's not very good to look at. You know what I mean? When you fight a championship card, one time I was going to put on the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I mean? And naturally, John Ruiz would have been the part where you play the bad guy of the ugly. I think that John Ruiz's style of hugging and holding is a very difficult style to be able to watch. You know, people don't like to see it, but he continues to win. John Ruiz is a winner, and in winning, he's a loser because you can't be able to give him away even with the title. So I figure that if John Ruiz would come on in and get into the series of this and eliminate all the guys that are out there in opposition, whether you like him or dislike him, you have to recognize he's a great fighter. I love John Ruiz, and it's just sad commentary. The style of fighting, and styles do make fights, that John Ruiz is not getting his proper due and his proper respect, but you have to be able to understand the viewing public, they come to see the explosive big punch, and John Ruiz is a hugger. And so in so doing, it puts himself in a position where people don't want to pay to see him.
Don, my last question for you. Our producer, John Crow, is getting married this weekend. He is embarking on what we hope is a lifetime of happiness with his bride-to-be. Are there any words of wisdom from a guy, I mean, let's face it, a worldly guy like yourself, that you can impart on our producer, John Crow, as he gets set to get married this Saturday?
Yes, I can. I would say to John, first of all, congratulations, and may he have a lifetime, as you just uttered, of nothing but happy bliss. But remember, John, it's cheaper to keep her.
Oh, that is great. On that note, Roy Jones and Antonio Tarver. Check it out this weekend. Don, thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be with Scott and Andy. And again, let me say it one more time. Roy Jones and Tarver, call your local cable operator or your satellite distributor to get it on pay-per-view if you are not fortunate enough to be here on the scene at the Mandalay Bay. So it's going to be a great, great fight. So call now, only in America. And remember, this is the greatest nation in the world. And I love George Walker Bush. 4 more years. George Walker Bush.
Don King, ladies and gentlemen, we thank him for joining us on the show. Boxing promoter Don King, you can't make a guy like that up.
No, you can't.
I mean, there's no way you can make a guy like that up.
I'll tell you what, though, and Ross Goodwin knows what we're talking about. Ross, the segment that we've discussed, oh, baby, there's the audio that we've needed from Don King. That's outstanding.
What tremendous command of the English language he has. I'm telling you.
It's ubiquitous, and I don't even know what ubiquitous is.
We'll take a break. We're coming back with more from Thomas Ellies after this on Sports Radio 790 and 99.7 The Score.
It's all sports. The Score AM and FM all the time.